is the Hot Zone. Engaging with the news in a whole new way, international war correspondent Chuck Holton brings insight into areas of crisis and lets you help those affected.
Hey folks, Chuck Holton here. Thanks for watching the Hot Zone. I'm back in Panama, as you can see, for a couple days, and then next week I'll be off to Mexico, Colombia, and the Darien Gap, so we'll have some more good content coming to you there. I'm posting on locals.com a lot. You can go to locals.com/Chuck Holton and you can support the podcast there. I prefer that over patreon.com because Patreon supports Black Lives Matter and I don't. So if you'd like to support the podcast, go to locals.com/Chuck Holton and you can see us there. Now let's talk about Ethiopia. There's a lot of fighting that's been going on there since November between forces in the northern region of Tigray and the national forces out of Addis Ababa, along with Eritrean forces that are helping the national forces. And there have been a lot of massacres and other just atrocities that have been going on in Ethiopia for some time. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of civilians being massacred, lots of innocents being killed. And that's leading to a dearth of supplies and lots of malnutrition. So more people may die from malnutrition. We're looking at another really big Ethiopian famine happening there. So back when I was a kid, I remember Ethiopia kind of being synonymous with famine, and we may see that again. I want to show you a bunch of sound bites from some news conferences put on by the United Nations World Food Program and others calling for help and talking about the situation in Ethiopia. And then I'm going to wrap up by showing you a package I did a few years ago when I went to Ethiopia about how the U.S. military is trying to counter extremism in Ethiopia by helping the people, and they don't do it with weapons. You'll see what I mean. Stay tuned.
I, of course, welcome the recent arrival over these last few days of 122 trucks which had been stationed in Samara waiting to go into Tigray. So they got there. So they are replenishing the supplies needed for the people of Tigray. But we need more. And the figure, it's an astonishing figure, but it's a tested figure, it's an attested figure by the humanitarian organizations, is we need 100 trucks a day going in to meet the humanitarian needs of the people of Tigray. We need to change the circumstances that have seen trucks moving in rather slowly. We need assured access routes by land, as well as, of course, our own flights going in and out of Mekelle. And frankly, we need the war to end. We need the conflict to stop if this is to be a safe place for the people of those particular regions in northern Ethiopia.
153 trucks with relief items have been able to enter Tigray. So in that period between mid-July and August 2nd, according to the UN, what were needed was 1,500 trucks, and the number of trucks that rolled in and were able to pass was 153. That's 10%.
There is comparatively easy access around areas of Tigray at the moment, but we don't have the supplies necessary to avail ourselves of that opportunity, and we need to get the supplies in. Now, this is something that is very well recognized by all the government leaders I met, that the needs that have been spoken about in Tigray are indeed what they have been advertised as. They are huge, they are urgent, they are important. Blanket accusations of humanitarian aid workers need to stop. Why? Because they are unfair, they are unconstructive, they need to be backed up by evidence, if there is any, and frankly, it's dangerous.
This morning, I visited a local staging center for USAID's food aid, not far from the capital. Warehouses were full of wheat and lentils and split peas, and trucks lay idle in the mud because deliveries had been backed up for weeks due to ongoing blockades. The U.S. is watching with great alarm as a conflict that began in Tigray is now beginning to spread. We now estimate that there are roughly 76,000 internally displaced persons in Afar and 150,000 internally displaced persons in Amhara after TPLF military expansion into neighboring provinces. I am proud to announce new investments to support the health and humanitarian needs of the Ethiopian people. On top of the more than $149 million in humanitarian assistance to help people affected by the ongoing conflict in Tigray, which I announced last week, today I'm announcing more than $45 million in funding to expand and intensify the fight against COVID-19, to support health systems, respond to urgent humanitarian needs, and support vaccinations.
So far, in the last 1 week, 43 bodies were buried around this river. 6 of these were buried by the local community. There were different types of injuries in their body, with some bullet injuries, some sharp injuries to the neck, and their faces were damaged badly, and some had amputated limbs and legs. There was a man which we buried yesterday. His genitalia was completely severed.
UNICEF estimates that over 100,000 children in Tigray could suffer from life-threatening severe acute malnutrition in the next 12 months, a 10-fold increase compared to the average annual caseload. Screening data also indicates that almost half, that's 47%, of all pregnant and breastfeeding women are acutely malnourished. We need unfettered access into Tigray and across the region in order to provide support to the children and women urgently need. Right now, we have just 6,900 cartons of life-saving, ready-to-eat therapeutic foods in our warehouses in Tigray. That is enough to treat severe malnutrition in just 6,900 children. She watched her grandmother get killed. She was raped by several men as she watched her 9-month-old baby being tossed around by other men. And what the doctor at this UNICEF-supported referral center in Mekelle said, which also struck me, was that in many cases it's not the assault itself that is the worst part, but it is the psychological damage.
A convoy of over 200 trucks is on its way now from Semera to Mekelle. This is a drop in the ocean. We need at least 100 trucks to be making their way every day into Tigray if we are to stand a chance to reverse the catastrophic situation which you have had today. Yes, we are getting access, but we need much, much faster passage. This is a catastrophic situation, one that we can already see will further deteriorate. And we need all hands on deck, trucks getting in, supplies moving in, aid workers accessing in and out of Tigray at a much faster rate.
There's one thing that's a very concrete ask from us to the government of Ethiopia, and that is that the government must permit humanitarians to bring in additional communications equipment and also provide longer-term visas for NGO staff. This is critical. We need these things in order to operate.
This part of the world has received lots of attention lately because of pirates attacking container ships and taking hostages. But piracy isn't the whole story. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Radical extremism is as much a problem in Africa as it is in Afghanistan. U.S. strategy here is to get the military involved earlier, deny the terrorists a safe haven, and strengthen relations with local governments.
We are building their stability, helping them build a better lifestyle, and in the end, that does promote a more stable region and keep extremism at bay.
In the past, terror organizations found willing recruits by offering hope in this area crushed by poverty and disease. Now, military doctors simply treating for internal parasites, from which nearly everyone here suffers, can help fight extremism. Some of the physicians here are calling it the global war on worms. Hundreds of people have been showing up to wait in this empty field over the last 24 hours, wanting to be seen by the military physicians that are here for the medical clinic today. For many of these people, it might have been 5 years or more since the last time they saw a doctor, and it may be another 5 years before they get this chance again.
You can catch more flies with sugar than you can with vinegar.
Major Michael Wheeler heads up the mission. His team includes 30 highly skilled personnel from all services, including doctors, dentists, pharmacists, and even a veterinarian. But despite all they have to offer, they don't want the credit.
What we want to do is we want to boost the image of the health ministry, local government officials, even the local police. What this does is it gives them a chance to see their government in action and know that their government does care about them and they are working for them.
A stronger local government leads to a more stable society, which will hopefully make us all a bit safer in the long run. Scott Regick left the elite special forces for civil affairs because he saw the effectiveness of this unique kind of mission.
I think these people realize that we Americans, we're a compassionate people. After a mission like this, they don't wish us any ill. As a father of 2 kids, which I do miss a lot, to see these kids, to put a smile on their face, to know that we're doing good for them, it fills my heart with a lot of joy.
Another benefit to this strategy is the cost. Humanitarian aid is one of the cheapest military missions there is. For example, this entire 2-week deployment cost about as much as a single tank of fuel for a large military cargo transport. Not only that, but this kind of preemptive strike, stopping terrorism before it takes root, is cheaper where it really counts, in human lives. During their 12-month deployment, this unit didn't lose a single member to enemy fire.
As our command develops, we would like to extend this friendship to even more parts of Africa.
It's been a great experience to come out here and help these people, to work in conjunction with the Ethiopian government. It's a positive experience for us, it's a positive experience for them. I think this is going to go a long way.
Chuck Holton, CBN News, Dire Dawa, Ethiopia.
The Hot Zone is produced by Amy Holton and Livefire Media.
Copyright 2021.